This is a documentary based off the Kennedy Space Center for a school project. Every day when I watch astronaut videos, I would always dream of them, and I really wanted to be like them. My official astronaut heroes really wanted to be like them. I just really wanted to be like them, but I never got the chance. But today, I got the chance. Hello, I'm Gianfranco Manuel Rivera, Captain Dr. NASA, my own superhero. This is Launch Pad 39 of the Kennedy Space Center. Every day, this would become the rocket that astronauts use to launch. And before that, I want to tell you a bit about Apollo 8. So you see, many years ago, some astronauts usually was against with a race with the Soviet Union. In 1957, a massive satellite was launched by the Soviet Union. The satellite was called Sputnik. Soon after that, we had some attempts, and then they were going great on us. But then, this was the day. What really happened? And soon after, maybe not. And it kept going and going again. In 1961, we even filed further behind. In 1961, the Soviet Union sent the first man into space. Yuri Gagarin was the first man into space. Were the Soviets getting ham on us? Watching us? Well, one day, we created our own satellite. And soon after that, we would keep doing well. But for example, we could keep going behind. But soon after that, this one did not come from the Soviet Union. It came from our major president. It came from the president during the space race, John F. Kennedy. And this is when he gave the most famous speech of NASA. It was 1962. John F. Kennedy giving his speech at Rice University.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win, and the others too.
And soon after that, we kept going to the moon, and we were ready. We also made a new mission called the Apollo program. But soon after that, our dream of going to the moon almost slipped away. It was Apollo 1. It was January 27, 1967. These astronauts, Virgil Gus Grissom, Edward White, and Roger Chaffee were on board Apollo 1. For a plugs-out test, a full-scale dress rehearsal for the actual launch. Suddenly, in heaven, there was a fire in the gasoline. This is how it's happening. We're about to launch down for Apollo 1 in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my God! What's happening? Commander, there's a fire in the capsule! Oh my God! We're all gonna die! 3 men whose lives have been in our hands will allow surely the opening distance of space. Promise high cost and hardships as well. These 3 men died on Apollo 1. Promise high cost and hardships as well. As a reward, but this country of the United States was not built by those awaited and rested. Sorry about that. I keep falling down. Here's a look behind. As for Apollo 1, some thought we'd failed, that the moon was out of our reach, but we owed it to those men to learn from their sacrifice and to carry on. We started taking the Apollo vehicle apart piece by piece. Was the design flawed and safe even compromised tough questions? And we spent 1.5 years, what's life would ever be risen. Because with the moon rocket is 91% high explosive and it goes into the most unforgiving, hardest environment there is, we could never make it risk-free. And the men were fluent, knew that 7 minutes of space again into Apollo 7. Orbit the Earth, the tested, some of the new design. Perfectly, the decision was made the next mission to travel to the moon. It was mankind's destiny to leave the shores of our planet behind and strike out across the vast ocean of space in the great span of our history. Now is the time that we stood on the eve of the longest, most dangerous journey any man had ever undertaken. And it will be taken by these 3 other astronauts. These are the astronauts. And they were taken by Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders, the crew of Apollo 8. Through those doors, we'll find the firing room launch control just as it was on December 21st, 1968. Launch controls for the Apollo missions when men first took off to fly to the moon. The tragedy of Apollo 1 and put us a year and a half behind. We were making up for it in one big lead, and we were doing it with a rocket that no man had ever flown before. It was a few days before Christmas 1968, but Apollo 8 sat on the pan. She was the first of a new kind of moon rocket. This was the Phoenix risen from the ashes of the Colonel 1. The first Apollo crew did not die in fame. This was to be the New Testament. 36 stories high, she had been fully fueled throughout the night. The liquid oxygen tanks in her tanks caused the ice to form on the outside of the craft. Extreme timber. The subdued. Everyone was on a pattern green, screaming. Earlier in the evening, astronauts Frank Warren, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders have made their final preparations before taking that long ride out to the Wayne spacecraft. The minimum distance for the Saturn V or liftoff was 3 miles. Okay guys, are you ready? Yeah, we're ready. Are you sure that this is safe? James Lovell? Yeah, don't worry about it, Bill Anders. Hey guys, are you ready? Yeah. As the clock reached, the astronauts and all of us, launch control went through the pre-flight checks, our hands on the controls on the most powerful, most complex machine ever built. It had over everything. Each individual system had been happening, but what we didn't know. If people navigate,
Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders would pay with their lives. And June 7th have always been test pilots.
minutes before the launch of Apollo 8, right where it actually happened. Mankind is about to leave this planet behind and journey to another.
It is one of those rare moments when history.
Guys, are you ready? Yeah.
That's what many disability claims Social Security initially approves. Now you...
That's 20 seconds. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. The engines are on. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Guys, we finally made it! Yeah, woo-hoo! Give a little booyah! Booyah! Yeah, let's go! We finally made it to the moon. Yeah, this is honestly one of my best moments of my life. Even after we almost flopped it, the Soviets are now going to lose the space race. Yeah, I do realize. Bye-bye, USSR. And soon after that, the space race finally ended. If no man had ever been. And also, we might even get on to the story of Apollo 12. But that's another story. The end.